So yeah, any threads that we want to keep pulling on from the first two parables as we kind of move into the lost son parable, which is huge.
I I had a thought this week when I was thinking about them, and that is you don't notice one sheep out of 100 or one coin out of 10 unless you're counting them all the time. And so it struck me that it has to do with greed isn't the right word, but maybe obsession with
Hmm.
what you have.
Mary Lou, I was kind of on the same page thinking about this, and I thought Pastor Kathy asked a question last week before we closed about what is the surprise in the lost sheep and the lost coin and the lost son. And I'm wondering if you couldn't say that it's extravagant risk, because all we're risking something, and all were in the sense of being prodigal, being extravagant, and going after one dumb sheep, going crazy over sweeping the floor to find the coin. And the conundrum of the end of the son story, where there really isn't any sort of resolution at all. Everybody's at odds with everybody, and it's pretty miserable.
Yeah.
But they were all risked something, and they kind of went overboard.
I really like that sort of juxtaposition of extravagant risk. Yeah, that's yeah, they all definitely went overboard. Um, yeah.
Hmm.
And the
And we
something,
all
go ahead, Catherine.
we think of them, previously thought of them as poor.
Yeah.
But he makes this book makes the point that, no, a woman with that much money was well-to-do, and likewise the person with the sheep. And that the average Jew listening to this would not be able to that wasn't their situation.
Yeah, yeah.
But it seems to me that the biggest surprise, or that they noticed when something was missing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
Or didn't notice in the case of the lost son.
Yeah.
well, so not to jump ahead, but I am because we're talking about this. The last line in the whole chapter, she writes, finding the lost, whether they are sheep, coins, or people, takes work. It also requires our efforts. And from those efforts, there is the potential for wholeness and joy. And I mean, I think that, as you guys have been describing the whole, I mean, part of it is paying attention. To know what and who is lost.
Just above that, she talks about Jacob and Esau reconciling, and she says, the scriptures of Israel give us hope for the sons in Luke's parable. They should give us hope for our own reconciliations from the personal to the international. But it seems like it's getting worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And making complete that which was incomplete.
Yeah.
There was a line that Sharon found last read last week about that, which I couldn't find. I went through this whole chapter looking for that line and I couldn't find it. But it was
I don't
about
even remember saying it. So
making complete that which was incomplete.
Um, I just, speaking of all of that, yeah, I'm I'm so thankful to be reading this. Um, and I to hear so clearly, and that's what she does, Amy Jill does, to be able to teach us people who really up until the last few years when we've really have been this group has been paying attention to the Old Testament, um, that Amy Jill is, I appreciate her making these connections, um,
Mhm.
in that these aren't separate things. Well, the Hebrew Bible and the Christian scriptures are not separate things. Um, and that, of course, I mean, I've often preached the good Jewish people in the stories would just know their Hebrew Bible, right? And I mean, I've said these words, and I not really understood the depth of the truth of that, um, and until I've been reading her, um, that this connection of these lost things and these two sons. Um, my goodness gracious, I've never learned any of that, never read anything like that before. Uh,
Well, at the title of the book says the enigmatic parables of a controversial rabbi.
mhm.
Um, Now, Jewish people don't normally they don't study the saying what this rabbi said,
But
do they?
I don't know that that's true. Amy Jill's a
I don't,
Jew, and her
yeah.
specialty is these things.
Mhm.
So, we do know that she is a renowned scholar. Um, so yes, but I mean, I don't know that we could say with any exclusion that there are not others that know almost as well as she
Mhm.
does.
but not the average Jew.
But not the average. Well, not the average Christian sitting in the pew doesn't
Right.
know.
Exactly.
Well, yes, but say you were, for sake of argument, reform, which, Orthodox Jews would argue moves you way far away on the spectrum.
Uh-huh.
But you go to synagogue every week.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to hear Jesus.
Yeah.
No,
You're only
wouldn't
going to
expect it.
hear the Old Testament or the Hebrew Bible.
Yeah.
But you'll hear in the course of the year, you'll hear everything in the five books.
Yeah.
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 And
Hmm. I suppose there might be some Christians who would make the argument that it doesn't matter. Hebrew Bible doesn't matter. Um, and from the get-go, that has never been uh the way I've seen it. I mean, I've always understood that you have got to know the Hebrew Bible in order to know your Christian scriptures. Um, have I done that as thoroughly as I mean, I've done it as thoroughly as I could have. I mean, that's what we've always been preaching,
Right.
is that you
Mhm.
know better, you do better. So,
Right.
yeah. So I can't blame myself for
Mhm.
but I sure love this one. It sure is teaching me stuff.
Yeah,
I
it's good.
I appreciate knowing. Um, let's see here. So, she has spent a lot of ink on this prodigal son, the lost
Yeah.
son. So I want us, I have tons of stuff underlined and exclamation marks and all sorts of things. So let's go back to where she begins on page 50. Some man had two sons. And let's just make our observations, our new learnings, our what shocks us, what surprises us. Moving on.
On the next page, well, I shouldn't say it that way. For me, it's the next page, but it would be like about 4 or 5 paragraphs. She has a little inclusion of Luke 15:12, where you refine that. In there, it says, even those commentators who do not see the younger son as violating his father's honor rarely remark on the father's reciprocal complicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He didn't put his foot down.
No.
You're not going anywhere, kid.
Mhm.
Well, the whole Bible is full of two sons.
Isn't it wonderful?
I didn't, I guess I didn't realize. That wasn't
Mm-hmm.
on my brain, but she sure continues to
Yeah.
point that out to us, that this motif of two sons is huge
Mm-hmm.
in this story.
And she also pointed out that all the women in the Bible, that the woman who with the lost coin, all the women in the Bible who had agency, who did what they wanted to do,
Yeah.
who invited their own friends to a party, didn't need to get anyone's permission to do that. She was a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 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 That opened my eyes. Yeah. And I have another, I've been telling you what I have written in my Bible that I have to erase now. And here it is again, in that just before what Jane read out to us. He has treated his father as if he were good as dead in the common interpretation. Jewish
Yes.
legal scholar Bernard Jackson what is that word? Trenchantly observes. Jewish sources give no support to the idea that the prodigal, in seeking the advance, wishes his father dead. I have preached that.
Mm-hmm.
That in
Yeah.
taking his inheritance,
Mm-hmm.
not that severs the relationship, and that he's as good as dead.
Yeah.
Then she says, nope, that's not right, Kathy. I take it back. Yeah, reciprocal complicity. That's interesting. And the next page, 52, we have the second full paragraph, the last line. The events so far may be foolish, but there is nothing to suggest sin. And so no reason to see the parable yet as about repenting and forgiving. And she says that about all three of the parables.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't about repenting and forgiving.
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we've always thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
That's
I've
what's
always
always been
thought that.
preached.
Yeah, yeah. It's what it's always been preached as. Yeah. And she's pointing us, I do believe, to see that which is lost. Is that to see, to pay attention,
Mm,
I think.
yeah.
What
Huh.
I'm not sure of, and I agree with you that she points us to pay attention to what is lost, but
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure of to what effect.
Okay.
Hmm.
I mean, the typical allegorical, preached often response is that it's calling us to repent.
Mm-hmm.
But she says that's not what it is.
Yeah.
And
So she does work really hard to keep us in the parable, and not to move to allegory too quickly. Um, so I mean, in the end, I don't think she makes a judgment. I don't think Amy Jill makes a judgment on sort of preaching the parable as allegory. But what I do think she does is to make sure that we do the work of listening to the parable on its own terms and struggling with the difficulty of it. So I think, Sharon, your observation is right on target. When we move to repentance and forgiveness, we are doing that. The parable itself is not. Does that sound like what she's saying?
well, I think so. But then what is Jesus's point?
Mm,
Then the question of so what becomes even more sort of a, a conundrum, right?
mhm.
So what? What's it
I'm,
about if it's not about that, Mary Lou?
I'm back to paying attention to what is lost because I'm thinking about myself sitting in my nice house and fed and comfortable, and how easy it is to forget to notice what is lost out there,
Yeah.
in terms of the poor and the immigrants. It bothers me that we don't feel that deeply enough. I think we overlook it. And so to me, that's what not paying attention to what is lost
Mm,
is.
I have not read ahead into the Good Samaritan piece
Oh,
she's got, and I'm so excited to read that because I'm wondering about that too. Is that a parable too about something that's lost and that's demanding us to see differently? So anyway, we're not going to go ahead. We'll stay here. But as we ask the question, then, so what? What do we do with the parable? Um, Mary Lou, I think is that part of that answer. If it demands us to see, um, yeah, what do we see? And there's no clear answers about what
mhm.
you do about what you see, except Jesus's commands, which are there as well.
Well,
Mhm.
I think that in the rest of the New Testament, there's plenty of what do you do about what you
Mhm.
see, you know. I-
Yeah.
Well, at the very end, on page 75, she says, do whatever it takes to find the lost and then celebrate with others, both so that you can share the joy and so that the others will help prevent the recovered from ever being lost again.
Yeah.
To bring to notice who's lost so you can bring to wholeness.
Mhm. And celebrate.
Yeah.
Back onto page 54. She's again on what, the very beginning when the sun takes off. And in that middle big paragraph, the last part says the son and his counterpart in the next parable are interested only in self-gratification. They are not building food banks or staffing homeless shelters. Not only are they fiscally irresponsible, they are self-indulgent, greedy, and therefore, to say the least, hardly admirable.
Well, she does say that she neither likes nor trusts the younger son.
Yeah.
She does. That he's not just going to do it all over again.
Mm-mm.
I mean, and that, well, that doesn't that go to our own um our own misunderstandings about forgiveness that once forgiven, so we have this whole thing, we have remorse, we have forgiveness, and then it's like don't do it again, right? Isn't that's all part of the way we think about forgiveness? And yes, she says she has no confidence that he's not just going to go out and do it again.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, we ask that question all the time. How
Right.
can I forgive if I know they're going to just do it again?
Well, even in his state of being abject and watching pigs eat stuff that he'd be willing to eat now, the way it's stated is he comes up with another plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a conniver.
Oh,
This
yeah.
is not so much to the conversation we're having now, but it just strikes me as interesting and perhaps timely that on the bottom of my page 54, the paragraph that starts with the younger son's actions may reflect negatively on his father. By failing to discipline his son and by acquiescing to his dishonorable request, the father may be seen as complicit in the son's debauchery.
Mm.
Dad could never get a job as an ecclesial authority. Ha ha ha. You should appoint elders in every town, someone who is blameless, married only once, whose
Yeah.
children are believers.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
how far we have fallen from that.
Right. And how much we cover up in those situations.
Yep.
Exactly.
No truth.
Exactly.
But we don't know the end. I mean, how many young people are he's led a party life. He's a party guy. And there's a lot of young people who are like that,
Yeah.
who, get straightened out,
Of course.
Yeah.
become responsible. It happens all the time.
Mhm.
Yeah.
What do you think where was his head at when he decided to give that son his inheritance while he was still alive, when that was clearly not the dumb thing? I mean, did he have a bad relationship with him? Was he glad to send him on his way?
Yeah.
Um, they don't ever really go into that. He was glad to see him when he came back, but maybe it caused so much upheaval in the family, he was ready to get rid of him for a while.
Yeah, maybe he didn't want to put up with the temper tantrum if he didn't do it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you wonder what the son would have done if he had said no. I'm
Yeah.
would the son have killed him? Who knows what would have happened? And he obviously, I think it's obvious that he didn't probably have a very good relationship with his older brother. Probably was jealous of him, and a lot of
Just,
dysfunction in this good old Bible.
Well, and
just
she
like,
talks about the dysfunction here too in this family, that's for sure.
just like Joseph.
Well, just like, I mean, that's exactly that. One of the things, Paula, she's done is to pull these threads of the two sons stories all the way through
Mhm.
the Hebrew Bible. And that what the convention is for inheritance and blessing and that throughout the whole Hebrew Bible, it's the younger son that's getting the
Exactly.
getting the inheritance, that's getting the blessing, and
And
that's
usually through conniving.
well, yeah, that's completely
Mhm.
not what we think we understand, that it's the older son that gets it all. So yeah, so this younger son is following in the footsteps of all of the two sons that come before him.
Mhm.
Yeah, uh, I mean, definitely Joseph, but to me, especially Jacob. Um,
Yeah.
he's a conniver from the get-go.
Yeah, yeah,
Jacob and
yeah,
Esau, you're
yeah.
referring to.
Mhm.
Even
Yeah,
when they're bored.
I remember teaching that story to fifth graders. That was fascinating.
You
I
could
bet it
write a
was.
whole uh, um, series of little cartoons about them in the womb and what was going on. That would be really fun.
And she brings up, which I hardly ever think of. She brings up Ishmael and Isaac.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And,
Mhm.
as an adult, what must Ishmael have felt? I mean, his father threw him out in the desert to die.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet he came back for the funeral. Isn't
Exactly.
that an interesting
Yes,
thing?
Well, there's dysfunction. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
which continues to this day.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Isaac, I always look at Isaac as kind of a schmo, you know.
Yeah.
Jacob makes up for whatever Isaac didn't have.
Yeah.
But Ishmael,
Hmm.
I just, I can't imagine what it would have been like to be
Mhm.
in his shoes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Or Hagar's, for that matter. I mean, she didn't ask to be his mother. She didn't have a choice.
Mhm.
Yeah.
The Hagar is the one who says the God who sees me
Mhm.
when she's out in the desert. I love that concept.
In fact, I read that she's the first one to name
Yeah,
God.
I had heard that too.
Yeah.
The God who sees me.
Well, and doesn't that go to the kind of kernel of these parables, paying
Hmm.
attention, being seen?
To being seen.
Yeah.
What lost being seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe that's Jesus's point.
Hmm.
Is
Ah.
Could be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so yeah. I mean, I think we could say that. I mean, to answer our own question, so what about the parable on the parable's terms, not on allegorical terms?
Hmm.
Is that not it? It's being seen.
I like that.
Hmm.
I mean that fills my heart. I'm seen.
I'm seeing.
Well, in a And in a world, well, I mean, exactly, right? In our world today, you know, um,
Mm.
that's a huge sort of revelation. But
Yes.
yeah, historically, that's been the way populations are oppressed, right? The way populations, the way groups of people, the way
Yeah.
individuals, is just to not see
Hmm.
them, to not,
Right.
uh, as long as they are not. I mean, I think that, can I make a political statement? Is it okay?
Mm.
I mean, I think that's what Trump is doing right now in DC. So long as they are not seen, there is no problem.
Mhm.
So let's move any unhoused people. And I'll tell you, he's going to be moving them into those concentration camps. He's not
Mhm.
giving them housing. He's going to be moving them straight
Yeah.
into concentration camps that he's erected. Um, as long
Because his good buddies, the jailers, the people
makes
who own those places will make
Yeah.
money.
makes so much money, yeah. So as long as uh, he can continue to not see them, um, they they are.
And and then that brings for me up the question of how do we tell those people some of us do see you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's our. Mary Lou, going back to your first pronouncement of that, I think that's exactly what then the call is here. How do we
Mhm.
um, make it clear that we do see? What do we do? What do we say? How do we act? How do we rise up in ways that makes it clear that we do see? I don't know the answer to that yet. Dania, you know the
Mm.
answer to that yet?
That's my personal struggle right now is I can't do enough, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I bet you do what you can.
Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
That is it. You do what you can, um, even though it's hard and never enough.
But you're not doing nothing. And
No, I'm not.
Um, go ahead. Who said?
Well, and all the little do what you cans, which is, for me at least, do what you can is part of my takeaway from being a Christian
Mm-hmm.
and following these stories. Um, all those little do what you cans add up, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah,
if you make even one person feel seen
yeah,
Yeah.
with your whatever you do, that's something.
yeah. That does.
When I'm gonna tell you a parable.
Okay.
Okay.
When my son, who is now 48, was, I think, 11, we went to visit my aunt and uncle who lived in Potomac, Maryland, um, in which is a very wealthy community of Washington, D.C. But as my cousins always used to say, we lived in the slums of Potomac. They had a very nice house, but it didn't have pillars inside.
Mhm.
Um, and uh, and we went into DC several times to go to museums. And when I say we had no money, we had no money. We did this on a shoestring, and my aunt and uncle were very generous about helping us fund this trip. And even then, there were many homeless on the streets of DC. And Jesse always stopped to give them some money. And one on the last day we went into DC, there was a young man outside the museum, a young African American man, and he had big empty buckets, those 5-gallon buckets and stuff, and a pair of drumsticks, and he was drumming on them. And we stopped to listen because Jesse was in a drum and bugle corps, and he was a drummer. And it was the music was very nice, and so the the drummer asked Jesse, how old are you? Are you from here? And stuff like this. And Jesse really wanted to give him some money. And so we emptied our pockets, my case, my wallet, and we gave him the money we had and saved enough to get back. And the young man said to Jesse, "You don't want to end up like me, so listen to your mother, do what she tells you to do, finish school, study hard, because believe me, you don't want to be here."
Oh,
And that to Jesse, after everything we had done and how my cousins wined and dined us, that
that
was
stuck
his
with him.
favorite part of the
Yeah.
trip. I wonder if he still remembers it. I'll
Yeah.
have to ask him.
Yeah.
Mm.
I always remember the saying, you don't have to set yourself on fire to keep others warm.
Yeah.
You do what you can, but you don't, I mean, you have to survive yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put your own face mask on first.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, one thing before I say what I was going to say, because this just is so fascinating to me. On my page 68, in the middle, the paragraph begins, "The father did not know until this moment that the
Bingo.
elder was the son who was truly lost to him." So I mean, that whole conversation, but in the middle of it, her tracing of this, for me, is amazing. The verb here is
Mhm.
parakaleo, and it has the sense both of pleading or urging and of comforting. Those familiar with John's gospel may recall references to the paraclete, usually translated advocate or comforter. The Paraclete, John's Holy Spirit, remains with the community in Jesus' absence to provide comfort, instruction, and advocacy. So for this parable, the term is apt. The father wants to urge and to plead with the elder to join the celebration. He wants to provide comfort by telling him that he has always had paternal love. To make that connection to that word in that way is, I just think is brilliant. I've never heard anybody make that kind of a connection before. And but she goes on to talk about the broken relationship. No rehearsed speech, no pat lines can rectify a broken relationship. Not at this point would any speech resolve the older son's emotional turmoil.
Mhm.
Yeah. So this whole idea now turns to alienation and resentment.
Well, how many families have been broken
Yes.
because one child has an addiction and the parents put all
Yeah.
their efforts and things into getting help for that one, and the children who are doing everything they're supposed to do start to feel neglected and
Yeah. Yeah.
get
Yeah.
resentful.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and so to move to celebration, I remember listening to uh, uh, Rabbi Sharon in the Amen Effect.
Mhm.
That's right,
I
Sharon.
love you.
Is she Sharon too? Rabbi. Anyway,
Sharon Brous? Yeah.
yes. Who spoke very much about that when we come in times of tragedy and celebration. She kept saying, don't miss out on the celebration.
Mhm.
That's such an important
Right.
part of the forgiveness is,
Mhm.
or not even forgiveness. It's just an important part of our human
Mhm.
journeys, the tragedies as well as um,
Right.
the celebrations. And
Yeah.
I heard that in here, um, as far as what at least the father is about, is claiming that celebration
Mhm.
and using resurrection language. She, Amy Jill talks about the father using resurrection
Mhm.
language. The missing brother has been restored his home. He is home. Celebration is warranted. He was dead and now he's alive. Um, and that needs a celebration.
Mhm.
Um, and I think that's really important in here too. So she asks us some questions as she finishes up here in her reconciliations. Um, and Paula was, I think, pointing to some of this. What do we do if we identify with the father and find our
Mhm.
children are lost? Is repeated pleading sufficient? What would be? What does a parent do to show a love that a child never felt?
Oh, it's so sad.
The parable shows us that indulgence does not buy love, but withholding can stifle it. And so we search desperately because our family is not whole. Sheep and coins are easy, children are less so. Recognize that the one you have lost may be right in your own household. Do whatever it takes to find
Mhm.
the lost and then celebrate with others, both so that you can share the joy and so that the others will help prevent the recovered from ever being lost again.
Wow.
This is at the root of forgiveness. Don't wait until you receive an apology. You may never get one. Don't wait until you can muster the ability to forgive. You may never find it. Don't stew in your sense of being ignored, for there is nothing that can be done to retrieve the past. Instead, go have lunch, go celebrate, and invite others to join you. And
Mhm.
the last sentence in that paragraph that I'm on page 75. Take advantage of resurrection. It is unlikely to happen twice. I just find that sentence so profound. I think we
Mhm.
do this all the time. We
Mhm.
sit in those pews and and we sit and we don't realize the what resurrection has done. I mean, I think if we did, I can't remember who the writer was. We'd be aflame the whole time.
Mhm.
And of course, we can't live that way. But take advantage of resurrection. Don't let this go by. It is
Mhm.
unlikely to happen
Mhm.
twice. I just, if there's anything that I guess is motivating for me, that's it.
Mhm. I feel like that I feel like I've come from a culture that's very much mind your own business sort of thing. So when she says here in that same paragraph, do whatever it takes to find the lost and then celebrate with others, both so that you can share the joy, I'm all up for that, and so that you can, that the others will help prevent the recovered from being lost again. And
Yes.
that's where my none of my business comes up.
Yeah.
How far do you go? What is my what does that look like?
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And how does a parent help her children reconcile when they're
Mm.
mad at each
Each other.
other for like one's mad at the other for something he did to me, and it's like I'm past that and I'm good with him again.
Yeah.
Don't you keep holding that grudge
Mhm.
because I'm over it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And but we got some real dysfunction going on between number two and the other two. And
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And is that part of the not feeling loved? And that's not even something that a parent can control. How can you control how the receiver of your love is saying, I
Right.
don't feel loved?
Well, he doesn't feel life is fair.
Oh, fair. Fair.
And he was
Yeah.
also extremely mad at me when I allowed Mariah to come and live with me for 3 months
Mm.
because I had had someone else stay with me one time that wasn't a good. It didn't. Nothing really bad happened, but he saw it as he thinks I'm naive and all these things. But
Trusting and living
even
out of
after
your
he
faith.
has found that Mariah was an exemplary human being,
Mhm.
he won't talk about her and he will not acknowledge the fact. And I'm over it.
Yeah.
That's his problem. But boy, my other two aren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's tough.
We're a parable in the family. I don't know.
Well, yeah. Isn't everyone? I mean,
Yeah.
I think we joke sometimes about our dysfunction, our families of dysfunction.
We put the fun and dysfunction
Yeah,
on.
that sort of thing.
I'm
And
not thinking it's so much fun.
Oh.
well, and that we do. I mean, we have to treat our Kathy says this. We have to treat our children differently, right? They're different people.
Mhm.
They have
Different
all
people.
different sets of dysfunctions. They have all different sets of whether they're on spectrums or this, that, or the other. We have to treat each one of them differently. You can't. And is
Mm.
that fair? Well,
But you can't dismiss their feelings because they're their feelings, right or wrong.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So anyway, our father in this particular parable, I don't think can win.
Yeah.
So what does he do instead? He celebrates.
Mhm.
Well, not instead, but what does he do? He celebrates.
Mhm.
And and I think he assures the other son that he has never been without his love. Um, I've been that way. I was the middle child of 8. Nobody ever worried about me, ever. You know, I could hide very easily if I chose to do something I shouldn't have done. But yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, I've spent my life, just having to live in the assurance that my parents loved me. They were too busy putting out the fires of my other siblings, bailing
Yeah.
my brothers out of jail when they got picked up for this, that, or the other thing. It's like, yeah,
Mhm.
is that fair?
You
Well,
kept a low profile.
I kept a low profile.
Yeah.
It's not about fair, right? It's about seeing
Survival.
Yeah.
what needs doing. Oh my gosh.
Mm.
Such a fabulous set of stories. Well, and I just for me, how important it is to treat these 3 stories of a piece. Do you see that?
Yes.
That
Yes.
we
Yeah.
do a disservice when we kind of pull them apart.
Mhm.
They really are three stories
Mhm.
that are all of a piece. So if you can ever have any influence on preaching, you might want
Mhm. Yeah.
to say that.
I think it's Sunday school that's messed me up.
Well, and it's the lectionary that messes all of us up, right? Gosh. So, I've kind of gone on about my preaching in the congregational church I was at. But we would preach on an entire chapter of, and there's something not wrong with that, right? Because you get this big piece that's rather than itsy bitsy little
Yeah.
pieces.
Snippets.
But you can't do that in the Episcopal Church because Episcopalians don't want to sit there for too long.
They do not. Not for 20, 25, 30 minutes anyway. Okay.
Because then church would be like an hour and a half or an hour and three quarters.
Good
And oh my
heavens.
God, I might miss the Packer game, or I have other things I have to get done today.
Yes.
Get to the grocery store.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So, are we going to move on to the Good Samaritan?
All
My
right.
hunch is that this is going to take us a few weeks.
Yeah. So good.
So, get going on it. Next Friday, the 3rd? No,
Second.
Today's the
Yeah, it's the
15th,
15th, 22nd.
22nd.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next Friday's good. The week after that, we'll just see how it goes. I'm gonna be in Door County.
Oh,
Ooh,
that's right.
Yeah, so we'll see kind of what I'll let you know. If I don't have anybody with me, because the kids are gonna have to come home before we get to Friday in that week. So if I don't have anybody with me, then
oh, so you're not going to do the supply gig?
I am, but I'm gonna be there from an entire week this time because of the way Tom's schedule works. They're gonna be with me for like 3 days, and then they have to come back home because he's got to get to work. But so we'll see. I'm doing services there on the 30th and 31st, Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
Okay.
That's
I
so
know.
soon.
I know.
I know. It
Think
just
about
seems
that.
crazy.
Yeah.
Amy, are you ready for back to school?
I'm getting ready.
How do the kids feel about this?
They'd rather stay home.
You must have one getting pretty far along in the system, don't you?
My oldest is in high school.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Thinking that was the case.
I was just thinking, I bet I wouldn't even recognize them now because,
It's been a little while.
yeah.
Okay, guys.
Have a
See you next week.
fabulous
Bye-bye.
reunion tomorrow.
Thanks so much. It'll be fun.
Did,
Bye-bye.
We'll
did you
Bye-bye.
guys read the Men Effect? Did you
Yeah, we
guys
did.
read it?
Yeah.
Oh, one of my favorite books. Loved
Yeah.
it.
Yes.
It's a great one.
If you go to the Shiva, go to the Simcha.
Yeah.
Or if
there
you
you
go to
go.
the Simcha, make sure you go to the Shiva.
Yep.
Yeah.
I wish we had Shiva.
I
Well,
do too. It's really,
that's an idea I'd like to
it
work.
really works.
Yeah.
Edna's father died, and they just finished sitting Shiva this like 2 days ago, I think. He was
Oh, I
95.
didn't
He
know
died in
that.
Israel, and
Did she go home for Shiva?
it didn't look like it in the picture she posted. I don't think she did, but I'm not positive. She had seen him fairly recently, but I don't know if she felt comfortable traveling internationally and whatever. So,
Yeah.
but
A woman with an accent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ay, ay, ay.
so fare thee well.
We'll see
Hey,
y'all. Good to see your
Bye-bye.
faces. Bye-bye.